All right, how to change the mirrors on a 2011 Chevy Silverado, and it'll work for a bunch of other years as well. I bought these on Amazon, about 150 bucks. They're towing mirrors. I'm gonna replace this one right here. So to start, you need a 10mm. I use an impact to remove it, but do not use an impact to install it back because you will break the studs. You need a plastic pry tool, pair of cutters, 4 tie wraps, small screwdriver. That's all you need. Here we go. So we're gonna pop the lock mechanism. I've already loosened to make it easy on the video. You pry up underneath here and it'll slide right off of the stud. So that's released. Next, we're gonna pop this piece of trim right here. You can use a small screwdriver or your pry tool. Usually it pops off, let it pop off. Now if you look in there, you'll see 2 10mm heads.
Just died.
What? Oh no. We'll edit that out. Yeah, it didn't die. All right, so you'll see 2 10mm heads. All right, so this piece right here of trim, like I said, I've already popped it. You take a small screwdriver, pop here. Don't try to pull too much. Pull it nice and even, and it will not break. There's 2 more 10mm heads back there. Next, get your plastic pry tool, stick it behind here. Try to pop out nice and even. You'll see your lock pieces go into the grooves. Lay that out of your way. Next, only one more piece of plastic. Take your pry tool, pop that off. You'll see 1 more 10mm, which you'll need to open the handle to be able to access. All right, so now we're gonna take our impact and just start popping them off. I'll open the handle, pull that out, throw it on your floor. We'll go ahead and pop the handle off. You can leave them loose as long as they come out. Yep, keep them where they go. That way you won't have to worry about the length. There's 2 behind here. The best thing to do would be to grab a little magnetic tool, but I just kind of use my finger just like that to hold it so it doesn't fall. Grab both of those. And this one's kind of a pain in the tail to get to. If you drop it, you'll be able to get it later, which I'm getting ready to do. All right, so I got it without dropping it. All right, so we got that one out. I kind of keep them. All right, so we got this one out, the handle, and the 2 behind here. Next, we need to pop the power lock and power window out. Just put that in there, pop it up, lay it down. Cars are going to be a little bit different, but this one, you pull the tab, unplug this little guy, small screwdriver right here, pull that tab out and unplug your connector. Make sure you drop that and break it. All right, now at the bottom of the door, do not try to pull this door off from the top. You need to start near the bottom and put your pry tool in here. I've already got the bottom ones loose just to make it easy on the video. And once you get it, bring your finger around and pop, pop, pop. And then what you want to do is lift straight up. And then your door panel will come off. Now, unless you're working on your latch mechanism, don't mess with it. Leave it hooked up. It's no big deal. Just let it hang. It's not going to hurt it. All right, so pull your foam out for your mirror. I think it's just for sound deadening. And now there's three nuts right here to remove that. But first, we want to remove this connector. And it's just to pull that tab up, and then this will come straight out. It is a tight fit, so you might have to fight it. So right now I'm locked up, but I got it to pull out. So that's everything with your mirror right there. All right, so right now, if you have a second person, you can use them. If not, roll your window down before you even start this process. Use a deep well 10mm. All right, so there's one nut. There's two. And now I'm going to hold my hand on the mirror. and I'm gonna balance that nut, and I'm gonna pull that off, and then the mirror comes right out. The hole is just big enough for the plug to fit. So we're gonna take that guy out. Now we're gonna take our new mirror, which is the exact process of taking it apart, just reverse. We're going to take it here. We're going to stick our wire harness through the hole. Just like so. And align it to your holes. No big deal. Take one of your nuts. I usually start it on the top, just so it holds it for me. Here's the second one. And start it. Start the third one. And if you notice when you were doing it, so what I like to do is I like to wiggle this thing as I run these up, because you want to make sure it's sitting flush on the outside right here. If you notice on the outside right here, you'll see where it's sitting flush with the truck. And make sure you're not crooked, cocked, however you want to say it. So I run all of them up by hand before you put any tool on these nuts. Wiggle it, tighten them by hand until it's sitting good and flush. Now, do not use your impact like I said. Use a nut driver by hand. A little bit on each one. And now also wiggle your mirror while you're doing this, because you'll be able to feel a little bit. I'm not going to tighten these too much. I installed a set for somebody one time and it snapped the stud off because I tightened it too much. So I'm just going to snug them as I'm wiggling to make sure it's sitting flush. Snug. See how, if you notice, they'll get a little bit loose, snug up. Okay, and I'm going to check them again. Okay, so the mirror is installed. Take your foam pad, put it back in. Take your wire. Now, if you have to, you can run a tie wrap through here, tape it to your connector, and pull it through. But I like trying the get lucky trick. Most of the time I do. In this case, it's fighting me, but okay, so there's your connector ran through right here. All right, so notice these pieces that we originally cut the tie wraps on. We're going to take our cutters. We're going to go on one side here. Start the tie wrap. Make sure you keep it on the angle that the plastic is mounted on, right there. We're also going to go on the other side. That'll keep the wire from getting hung up in anything. All right, so 2 more tie wraps right here. Now I have the sound deadening stuff on my truck, so you probably will not have this. All right, so there's your 4 tie wraps. Take your snips, cut them right at the base as not to cut anybody. Just like that. Just like that. Okay, so now your wire's landed and hooked up. So find your appropriate harness, plug it in. There's actually a hole for this, but you don't have to worry about that. So now what we're gonna do is pull my sound deadening material back a little bit. Like I said, you don't have to worry about this because you won't have it. And we're gonna take the door, spin it back around. Make sure you pull all your wires through your door panel. Okay, so all your wires are through the door panel. And remember how we took it off, you have to put it in at the top. So eyeball how it's gonna sit. Leave the bottom out a little bit. And then look around your perimeter of your door. And you should hear the door click back in. If you don't feel it clicking in, look behind it for a light. pop your door back in. All right, so the door is back on. So now we just do reverse. So now we're gonna put this piece back on, which you gotta figure out how it goes. Could be hard sometimes. Right there, that piece is back on. We're gonna take the handle, drop the screws out. Actually, let's do the locking mechanisms first. Plugs in, tuck this underneath. All this does is clip right in, just like that. Now you're down. Now you take your handle, make sure you have it in the right orientation. Now I'm going to use the impact, but I would really prefer that other people just use the nut driver by hand. Okay, so I'm just letting it touch. I'm not killing it. Back into the bottom. All right, a little bit of click clack. I'm only on setting 1, so it's not killing anything. I'm taking the other screw, putting it back in where the handle goes. That holds that in. Now the other 2 screws underneath here. Hopefully you can hold them in place. They should be lined up. Like I said, I'm not killing this thing. I'm just barely tightening it. That's all you need. All right, so now we're going to take our manual lock mechanism. We're going to slide it down till it's about flush, and then we're going to pop that clip in. And then, as you can see right there, if you look, it's a little bit high. So if you want to, you release the clip and drop it down a little bit more, and then snap it in. Now we're not sticking up above it. So that makes it perfect. So now all we're going to do is take our gray piece of door trim and bend it out at the bottom just ever so slightly until you get your clip in. That's snapped in. And I need the plastic piece here. Pull your door handle out, snap it in. And where did the one go that flew away? Now we're going to take this guy, slip it up through the bottom of the handle, and we're going to pop that in. Everything's tight, and then what you want to do is put your key in, make sure your turn signal works, make sure your windows work, make sure everything works, and then you're done with it. Have a good day.